We're here to talk about investors and what houses not to buy. My name is Megan Timothy. This is Shay Mcgee. And I'm going to ask him a few questions. I want to know, Shay, what are good houses to look for investors and what are houses not to buy?
Okay, let's focus on what not to buy. What houses to look for change in so many different aspects depending on what the investor wants to do, whether it's a short-term flip, whether it's a buy and hold or a rent and things like that. We'll take that offline for another video because it really depends on what that investor is looking for.
That's true.
But there are a couple things that go across all spectrums on what not to do. So if you're okay, we'll talk about a couple of the things to avoid.
Absolutely. I think that is a great start. Let's start there.
Perfect. The first thing that I would look at is bad layouts. Okay, there's a lot of houses sitting around. You can pick them up for next to, nothing comparatively, but it's because the layout stinks. If you go in through the garage and you have to walk around for 20 minutes around 4 bedrooms, circle the dog kennel, go around the back end, come back through to finally get to the kitchen, that's a long time to be, struggling with the groceries and stuff, and people don't like that layout. Okay?
Yeah.
Along with that, a lot of people also look at like 1 or 2 bedroom homes. Okay, 1 or 2 bedroom homes, there's a market for those. Okay, but in Utah, with families the sizes they are, even first time buyers and small families are almost always looking for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, or higher, because that's easier to sell for beginning buyers, move-up buyers, and things like that. It's just more appealing to a broader spectrum, so you're not sitting on the house forever.
And I agree. I have a lot of buyers. That's exactly what they're looking for. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Another one is additions. You see this a lot with older homes, and there's a lot of additions, and some of them are gorgeous. Okay, additions, depending on how they're done, if they're done by really good vendors and stuff like that, can be great, but you really have to be careful because it doesn't always pay out. It can make for one of those, rough layouts that people don't really like, and a whole lot of problems when it comes to home inspections and things like that.
Well, I have a question too. What if they turn the garage? Does that help or does that kind of decrease it because the garage is missing?
It really depends. By and large, if you have a 3 bedroom, 2 bath home, I would say leave that garage, because that 4th bedroom might help some people, but just as many, if not more, are going to dislike it because they want to keep the ice off their cars in the winter. So,
that's true. Or storage, right?
Yeah, it depends on the person, but when you're flipping or when you're taking a house as an investment, you're not making it for you. You bought it, you're selling it to somebody else for a profit. You need to make it appeal to them, and it's what they want, not what you want. Okay. Another thing is you need to be really careful with what's around the house. I've seen a bunch of investors and just clients struggle when they have railroad tracks or low power lines in the back, or just something negatively affecting it. Might not necessarily be on the lot itself, but something very close negatively impacting that property, which would make it harder to sell and force you to sell it for a lower amount to get it under contract and get paid. Another one, and this will go for any house, for an investor, for someone that wants to live in it, structural issues.
Oh, yeah.
The 3 big 4 that we always worry about is, the foundation, the roof, the electrical, and the plumbing. Okay? Electrical, plumbing, and roof, you can hire somebody. It's not necessarily cheap because they put in a lot of work and stuff like that. But foundation's tough because by and large, there's a lot of things you just can't fix. And that can be a real bad problem. So you really need to pay close attention when it comes to structural issues like the foundation.
And would you suggest if people who invest, should they get a real estate agent on their side? Should they try to do this on their own? What is your thoughts on that?
I definitely think, and taking myself out of it personally, I would want the best team available And if you're amazingly good at doing certain types of work and handyman things and stuff like that, everybody's good at something and everybody has a strength. But combining that with the strengths of other people just makes your team as a whole better. And having someone to be able to negotiate the purchase, negotiate the sale, make sure that they take care of all of the different things with the title and lenders, and even as it comes to, vendors, handyman, electricians, things like that, and help you coordinate all that, I would think it was a much better idea as a whole. And hiring a professional, especially for the negotiation and the marketing, is just going to be able to turn the houses over more quickly for more money. And at the end of the day, it's all about how much, profit you're making from this, because you're giving up a whole lot of time and your money, or somebody else's money, to do that.
That is true. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people go out there on their own and they think they can do it because there's money out there, but they don't get a real estate agent to help them out, and they don't know that there's really not any money in that house. And actually, everything you listed happens to them.
Unfortunately, yeah. And there are some people that can do it, that have done it, that have done 40, 50, couple hundred of them, and they're fantastic. But by and large, most of them would definitely benefit from having someone on their team to have an extra set of eyes. Like, another thing is, bigger's not always better, okay?
That's
Finding
true.
some 4,200 square foot massive house, depending on the area. If it's in the right area, that might be wonderful. But by and large, the bigger the house, the lower the dollar per square foot and things like that, and it's going to be harder to sell. If you're trying to sell a house at $750,000, there might be a whole lot of profit there, but it's going to take longer to sell it because there are less buyers in that area. So that's one thing that we can do. And I mean, a lot of what we talked about is sheer numbers, okay? Having someone to take a look at the market, the comparables, this is what we can pick the house up at. This is the value of it where it stands versus if we want to add 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, whatever, and put it back up. This is what we should be able to sell it for. So you can take, this is the money put in, this is the money and the time and the resources needed to rehab it, and at this point we should be able to sell it at this price, so you can have a business plan to make sure that you are on track and making money and growing your business, which is what you're in it to do anyway.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for your information today, and I hope this helped all of you guys if you're thinking about investing.
Thank you very much, guys. We'd love to hear from you if you have any other questions, or if you've played with the idea of investing, because there are a lot of good things in investing, but there are also a couple pitfalls. Let's sit down and talk about it and see if it's the right fit for you. Thanks so much.